Welcome back to our program, everybody. Remember, in the first part of our lesson, we were talking about the 4 seasons controlling the earth, but spring, summer, and fall, or autumn, didn't like winter because she was always destroying all those plants and leaves and things. So they banished her to the human world, and then this lord of a castle had a dream, and winter was in there, and he decided he wanted her for himself because of all those beautiful snowflakes and those icicles.
Yeah, that he saw in his dream. He thought they were lovely. But he said, hey, how do I catch her? How do I catch winter? And this is what Summer said to him in his dream. Take this sunlight to blind her. When you blind someone, you do something so they can't see anymore. Now, if you've ever looked straight up into the sun, which you shouldn't do, by the way, it will blind you. When you look away, you really can't see anything for a minute. That light is so bright. So that was the first thing he needed to do. Use sunlight to blind her. And then what did Spring say?
Well, Spring said you can take these plants to bind her. Blind and bind sound very similar here, but they're different. To bind something means to tie something to something so that it can't get away. So maybe people in a war would bind people to chairs or to trees or something so they could not escape. So these plants were used to tie up the person or to bind them, in this case winter, to bind her. And then Autumn said, and I will warn you as she approaches. Now, to warn somebody means you tell them that something dangerous is going to happen so that they can protect themselves. So here Autumn says, I'll let you know ahead of time. I'll warn you when she comes. I'll warn you when winter's about to come so you can prepare. Well, here to warn is our word power word for today. Let's take a closer look.
Word Power.
Hi, and welcome to Word Power. Today's word is warn. In today's article, Autumn says he'll warn the Lord as winter approaches. Warn is a verb that means to tell someone about something before it happens, so that they will be ready for it. For example, Ted warned Jim that it would probably rain in the afternoon. Warning is the noun form of warn. It means something that tells you about a bad or dangerous thing that could happen. For example, the police have given a warning that they will be giving out more parking tickets. That's all the time we have for Word Power today. Thanks for listening.
So they all gave him pieces of advice or things he should do in order to catch winter. Now the Lord awoke, so he woke up from his dream and found the sunlight that he needed to blind her and the plants he needed to bind her or tie her up by his bed. So they were right there. Now when autumn finally blew away all the leaves of the land, the Lord knew that was the warning that winter was near or about to come.
So he took the sunlight and plants and blinded her and bound her. And of course this was the approaching season of winter. So he did these things with the sunlight and the plants. That way he could keep her all for himself.
That's right. Now the first snow rolled off the hills. So it snowed, but it came off the hills and the new ice melted off the lakes. Now in winter, if you're in a very cold part of the country or world, the water on the top of lakes will freeze. It will become solid. And it melted, which means a solid liquid suddenly melts and becomes just liquid like a water. Maybe you have a bar of chocolate. Have you ever left it in the sun? It melts. It becomes like a liquid. Or ice cream. When it melts, it becomes like a liquid.
Yeah, it's so hard to eat an ice cream cone because the ice cream melts and drips all over the place. But here again, winter was disappearing here. The snow rolled off the hills, the ice in the lakes melted, and fresh snowflakes disappeared from the air. So winter was going away, and winter was transformed into a pale, beautiful lady in a white dress. Pale just means without color, basically white. Pale sky, for example, if it's all white with clouds.
Or you can describe someone who has very light skin as looking pale. Well, he thought she looked beautiful and he wanted her and he took her prisoner. To take someone prisoner means you grab them and you force them to stay where you want them to stay. They cannot leave. They do not have their freedom. Okay, everybody, that's the first part of our story. We're going to listen to our Chinese teacher and then we'll be back.